The Weekend
Warriors. Warriors come out to play.
Yeah, here we go.
Good Saturday morning, everybody. We are broadcasting live from the Weekend Warrior Studios in beautiful Peoria, Arizona. I'm Ralph Romano. Alongside my partners in crime, we've got the legendary Philip Burrow Amorine and Luke. My neck is still flexing right. And this is the Weekend Warriors.
Nobody's got those neck muscles like Luke. But there we go. If you want to join the show and be a Weekend Warrior yourself, you can do so wherever you're watching us live right now, whether that be on YouTube, whether that be on X, whether that be on Facebook, whether that be on Instagram, whether that be on eBay. Join us, bid now, and buy it now. How about that? Okay. Well, guys, big week. Big
Football.
week. Oh, you wanted to talk football? See, I thought that we could go and talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, rounding out their starting five, maybe the big three of Denver Nuggets now with DeMar DeRozan, Klay Thompson joining the Heat, bringing the Heat. We don't want to talk about that? No,
we're talking about Napoli. We're talking about Manchester City. Serie A starts today. Premier League started last night. It's football all day.
The Dodgers are collapsing. He needs to focus on something else.
It's time for international football. Football day.
Yeah, Lakers being sold. Now they're just no better than the garage sale brand. Here we go.
$12 million garage sale. Yeah. $12 billion garage sale.
$12.5 billion. How dare you? That is a big half. That is a point. That is a decimal point that we can take. However, he is right. It is indeed football week, and we are bringing the football. We are going to be going balls deep into football right here, right now. Prediction week is here. We are going to be going down and breaking down the entire season as we see it.
Wow.
Whether it be talking about playoffs, whether it be talking about awards, whether it be talking about even the worst teams. And in fact, that is where we will start. Gentlemen, in order to start the season, we got to start off by the worst. And I do want to start off here at the bottom of the barrel, get it out of the way, talk about it. I have done the calculations. I have run the arithmetic multiple times, and no matter which way you cut it, I have amongst my teams for the worst record. There is a three-way tie for the worst record in football, the way that my season breaks down. I want you guys to let me know if you find an erroneous contender amongst these three. Here we go. Alphabetically, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. Those are my three teams that I have tied for the worst record in the NFL this upcoming season, with a record of 2-15.
You're so biased.
I'm telling you, 2-15.
That's horrible.
I don't.
For at least two of those, do you agree with two of those?
No.
I agree with two.
I agree with one.
Agree with one. Okay.
Only
now,
one.
out of that pool, do you guys have? Are we all on the same bandwagon here? Worst team?
Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals are mine.
I have the Cardinals at the number one pick.
Yeah.
So we all agree there.
So bad.
They're so bad. And whenever you look at their schedule too, honestly, there's just no reprieve. There's two spots where you're like, they have a chance. They're back in the run for like possibly winning this game. And unfortunately it's early and late in the season. There's like no middle ground. Whenever you look at the entirety of the Cardinals season, they are just well put together for perhaps an exciting season. Like I could see them giving a few teams a run for their money, possibly. Like in just that neither team scoring, and so it's a 3-0 game. But 2-15 record due to tiebreakers. I have the Cardinals being the worst team. Guys, I don't like their offensive line. I don't like their. I mean, you kind of like their weapons. I don't like their quarterback that much. I think he's a premier backup quarterback, and their defense has holes to be exploited up and down the wazoo.
Outside of McBride, what weapon? They don't have weapons.
Michael Wilson's a nice 2.5.
And they got the bust Harrison Jr. He's a joke. He'll be a
Jeremiah
brain next year.
Love.
We'll have to see.
Jeremiah Love. I know that you poo-pooed preseason here, Rob, but you have to admit Jeremiah Love did look immaculate.
If he's healthy, starting
Yeah.
off the year with a high ankle sprain is not a great way to. A high ankle sprain of all injuries is one of the worst to get at the very start of the year.
It will linger.
That is something that will linger for months, especially because their bye week isn't until week 14. So it's like he's going to have that sprain basically his entire rookie year. I will say for the Cardinals, I was actually a little optimistic for them when they hired LaFleur. I like that at the time of it happening. Every single move since then has been downhill. Nathaniel Hackett, bad hire. Keeping Nick Rallis as defensive coordinator, bad hire. Drafting Jeremiah Love, 3rd overall, bad decision. Running Jeremiah Love into the ground in a preseason game, bad move. Paying Jacoby Brissett $15 million a year, bad decision. To me, it has just been, from Mike LaFleur, it has been downward spiral. I thought this team could have been in a position to win 4 or 5 games this year, and then just every decision they made continue to bring that win total lower and lower and lower. I think that they might win a game the whole year.
Have you heard him in press conference? Have you heard him talk?
Mike LaFleur?
Yeah.
I've heard like a couple sound clips, but it's the same thing the Cardinals do every year. They get a head coach who I feel like is just not ready to be a head coach.
He sounds lost.
Yeah.
When he talks, he reminds me of the last guy they just got rid of. That never knew what the heck he was talking about. Gannon. Yeah. He sounds lost. He sounds exactly like you just said. He wasn't ready. So let's go coach the Cardinals. This is going to be fun to watch. This is going to be a nuclear explosion.
He might have ruined his career by taking this as his head coaching job.
I just wonder how long in this season will it take for them to sacrificially fire, finally, the GM? I think that will happen in season this year. That's how bad this is.
It's somewhat rare that it happens. I mean, it happened last year with the Vikings, but even then it wasn't
I think it was late
season. Yeah.
The fans will call for blood at 0-7.
Well, I think we've covered the Cardinals. We covered them last week. Cover them again this week. Guys, let's go to the AFC. We're going to be giving it to you. We're giving you the AFC playoff picture as we see fit. Going from the number 7 seed all the way to the number 1 seed. So, Luke Wright, can you give me the number 7 seed all the way to the first one in order?
You all of them right now.
Just give me all 7 teams from number 7 all the way to the number 1.
Kansas City Chiefs are your 7th seed. Jacksonville Jaguars coming in at number 6. The Los Angeles Chargers coming in at number 5. Got the Cincinnati Bengals taking that division at number 4. I have the Houston Texans taking that division at with the 3rd seed. I have the Buffalo Bills in the 2 seed. And 4, my number 1 seed, the winner of the toughest division in the AFC, back-to-back number 1 overall seeds, Denver Broncos.
Phil doesn't know what to do with what you just said.
He didn't have his earbuds in, so he didn't hear me give any of my seeding.
Good job, Phil.
I try. Thank you.
Way to lead the flow.
Yes. In fact, I might have to join back. I think I have the wrong mic, but that's all right. Anyways, so yes, I heard that you had the Chiefs very low. I did not hear number 3 through 1.
Texans 3, Bills 2, Broncos 1.
Broncos 1. What a beautiful top.
Back to back, baby.
All right. I'm going to leave, but Ralph, why don't you go ahead and give us your 7 through 1?
That's easy. Mine's way different, by the way. So Oh, the show just got better, didn't it?
It's cleaner with 2 cameras.
It feels cleaner. It feels like the garbage is gone. I don't know what it is.
It's crazy. It's just such a stark difference.
Hold on, I'm going to have to now
Let him in. He
yeah,
he didn't think this through
no,
at all.
He didn't think it through at all. There he is.
All right. Fantastic.
Oh, now
All right.
you sound better.
I'm sure I do. All right. Fantastic.
Bad, but...
It took me a second.
Okay, so my 7. At number 7, I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
At number 6, I have the Denver Broncos. At number 5, I have the New England Patriots. At number 4, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 3, I have the Houston Texans. At number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens. And my number 1 seed, the Buffalo Bills in their new digs.
The Buffalo Bills. So you're even with a new head coach.
Yep.
You're confident in the Buffalo Bills.
I've got a feeling.
Okay. Well, it's that time. The AFC for me, number 7, with a record of 11-6. Yes, I'm going that deep. 11-6.
At 7?
At 7. The Los Angeles Chargers. A familiar spot for the Chargers here, as this would be the 2nd year in a row that they held the last playoff spot. And this would mark the 3rd year in a row where they end the season with an 11-6 record. At seeding number 6, I got the Houston Texans at 12-5. Same record as the wild card team above them because they lost a tiebreaker. But the Texans have a season-long dominance over weak offensive lines, but come up short in shootouts. Number 5, with the record of 12-5. The Chiefs, admittedly built in to allow a healing Mahomes, a young and unproven secondary, and a wide receiver core that has a lack of availability. But I think K9's addition solidifies the return of the Chiefs and makes them the first wild card. All right, so we go to our division winners here. The lowest division winner, I've got Buffalo Bills at 10-7. Someone wins this division. And I think a first-year head coach doesn't allow for the stability needed to retain the Bills' regular season dominance and a chance to host the Chiefs in the playoffs, since they are the number 5 seed. Number 3, I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars with a record of 13-4. A Jaguars sweep of the Texans helped the Jags retain the division. I'm buying on Liam Cohen here and setting up a chance to host Houston in the first round of their playoff run. Number 2 and number 1 both have the same record. And even though they don't face each other, there's a tiebreaker in play here. So at 14-3, I have the Denver Broncos. They narrowly miss out on back-to-back number 1 seeds, but they get to host an incoming number 7 seeded Chargers team they swept during the season. And then the number 1 seed, then, if you're keeping track at home, has to be an AFC North team. Let's go the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
I did not foresee this coming. I can't say that it was something that I knew heading into it, but when you pair up their schedule along with the lack of ability that the opposing teams have to offer to exploit their biggest weakness, which I would say still is their offensive line, I think that they take advantage of a weak division, and with the strength of schedule tiebreaker over Denver, they earn a bye heading into the playoffs. My number 1 seed, the Cincinnati Bengals. And I did not hear you, Ralph. Did you say that your division winner was the Ravens?
Yep.
So me and Luke both agree that the Bengals win the division. We are drastically different.
Yeah,
on
you're
where
both
that's.
right. I mean, I'm used to this. You guys come in with your picks. They're always wrong. And then we see, oh, yeah, look, Ralph was right again. I got it. We're good.
So I'm trying to think. I'm doing the math. Is there a team that we all pretty much have around the same teams. I mean, I know Ralph has the Ravens, and so therefore he doesn't
basically he swapped out the Chargers with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I believe all of our teams are the same. It's just different seeding.
I don't have the Chargers in the playoffs.
That's what I just said.
I don't have Jacksonville in the playoffs.
Who do you have in place of Jacksonville there, Ralph?
Oh, you have Houston winning.
Yeah, I have Houston winning.
You have Houston winning.
Oh, Pats.
Oh,
Yep.
the Patriots.
Yep.
That's interesting, Ralph, because actually out of all of us, you were probably the lowest on the Patriots, not only last year, but even heading into this year. You just think that the schedule is good enough?
I feel the Rossini fuel is going to work, and I think they have a shot at being the 5 seed. I think
And the 5 seed
will have a down year. I think they're going to go backwards this year.
Okay. All right. So that's where we go. that is our AFC playoff picture. We will get further into the prediction here in a moment, but we're gonna
Who's your last place team in the AFC? Who's the worst team in the AFC?
The Raiders.
Oh,
Raiders
God.
at 2-15.
Luke, who's yours?
For worst team in AFC, I think I have to go.
Actually, I'm sorry. Mine's Raiders and Dolphins. They have a tie in my scenario.
I think Dolphins for me.
I have the Browns.
It was between Browns and Dolphins for me.
Browns will be the worst team in
I know you guys are
concede.
I know you guys are going to be surprised, but I do have the Browns as a spicy team this year. They have like two.
Like the
wins.
Titans were last year.
Yeah, same thing.
No, I had the Titans like damn near getting a 1 seed themselves last year. Like it was very bad. No, this is just a spicy team. This is just a team that has
salt-free, gluten-free. They're going to be terrible.
All right, let's go. Let's switch it up because straight through everybody loses the narrative. So let's make sure that we go to the awards. So now we have an interesting defensive rookie of the year award here that we have. I pulled up some odds as of yesterday for the top 4 contenders. You guys are free to go wherever you want on this, but these are just the top 4 as they currently can be bet. Number 1 contender for defensive rookie of the year as far as the odds are concerned, Ruben Bain at plus 470. I've got David Bailey of the New York Jets at plus 500. Caleb Downs of the Dallas Cowboys at plus 700. And Sonny Styles of the Washington Commanders at plus 750. Let's go to you first, Ralph. Who do you think is going to be taken home defensive rookie of the year after this year?
I'm on the Bain train. I like Bain. I love him in college. I think it's going to transfer really nicely into the NFL. I think he'll be an edge guy that's going to get 9 to 11 sacks this year. I mean, I think he'll instantly make an impact. And I think that'll be enough to vault him into the rookie of the year role. I'm all about the Bain train this year.
Luke, you know that Ralph loved himself some highlights of Ruben Bain setting up his own training and practice. After practice, everybody's gone. He's the only one on the field and setting up a practice dummy with which to practice the swimming moves. You know, Ralph was just enjoying that offseason footage.
He's loving it. Best move.
Yeah, against a literal dummy.
Yeah.
Before we get to you here, Luke, I do want to clear up the chat line. Tesla and Travels and Stops is enjoying the football season that only him and Ralph are talking about and saying Forza Napoli. And then of course Tesla Travels and Stops I think is upset with your pick of where the Bengals landed in your predictions, Luke, in only
I believe 3. That came up during Ralph.
Oh, even there, Bengals, really?
Or no, sorry, I think yours, Phil.
It was probably yours because
it was definitely on one of your guys's.
I'm sure it was mine.
Either Bengals were too low for Ralph or too high for Phil.
No, too high for Phil because Phil's too high.
And then Bitter Dolphin, do you 3 think the NFL would eliminate joint practices? It's only time when an important player gets hurt. We just talked about the Arizona Cardinals and Jeremiah Love and talking about how he sustained a high ankle sprain. I don't think that I think if you were to talk to a lot of the coaches across the NFL, you look at Sean McVay. Sean McVay was probably the progenitor of not having players play during the preseason. You will never see Sean McVay not play his players during a joint practice. He fully believes in that. So I do not believe, to my own thought and even to the coaches' thoughts, that they would give up joint practices. I think that they find a lot of value in those. I do not think that they find any value whatsoever in the preseason en masse.
Well, what I would say is, in my opinion, the joint practices are for the number ones because they can get them reps and work, a lot of reps and work in a controlled environment versus playing them in the preseason games where they don't like to play. See, we're just talking about this before the show. Seattle won't play their number ones in preseason games. They play them on the Friday night, the Fridays or the Saturdays of the joint practices. That's when they get their work. So the preseason games are for the rookies and for the guys trying to make the team. So no, they use them. It's a valuable tool. Those joint practices are very valuable.
I think it's one of those things you have to know your team and you have to know your coaching staff. If you have a elite coach like McVay, like McDaniels, and if you have a good locker room and a good coaching team. I think joint practices are amazing and very beneficial, but I do think that at some point you're going to see enough BS like the Saints and Cowboys fiasco to where eventually they will be limited or just completely eliminated, although I don't think they should be.
There we go. All right. Now, Luke, we will go to you. Who do you find to be winning your Defensive Rookie of the Year this year by the end year?
This was a toss-up for me. I was considering Ruben Bain. I like him. I think that he has a very good chance to shine down in Tampa. My only concern with him, not the arm length, my concern with him is Todd Bowles is a bad coach. He is. He just is. He is yet to prove that he can put together a elite defense with that Bucs team in several years now. And that's not all on him, but it's enough on him to where I'm just kind of over it. So I'm actually going to go with Caleb Downs.
Wow.
Yep, I'm going to go safety with Dallas. I think that he has a lot of talent. I have a lot of faith in their new DC. And I think that this defense is going to have just huge strides of progress compared to last year because of just how bad they were last year. That I think it's going to be like the perfect storm of having Caleb Downs win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Ruben Bain, I think that guy's a culture guy. And where I would disagree with you, Luke, is even if you had any inkling that Ruben Bain could win this, you should, simply because Todd Bowles, even if you believe and attribute a lot of negativity to his coaching style and coaching schemes, the guy blitzes, and that allows for sacks. And so sacks correlate to winning awards such as this, would be my thought. But I do not have Ruben Bain winning this. I do agree with you, though. Caleb Downs is my Defensive Rookie of the Year. It is fascinating. This is not usually quite an easy award because it has to come with some name recognition in order for it to begin with. Like, it's very rare. Very rare. I think if memory serves, there's only a few times where like a random inside linebacker that was just drafted and had like Chris Borland of the 49ers, I think might have been a recipient in years past. Where it's not some guy taken in the third round and later. It usually has to come from the first round. So if you're looking for value later on in lower names, I don't think that this is the particular category with which to find it. But Caleb Downs, name recognition, brand recognition, playing for the Cowboys, and truly, I think that he's going to get a boost that really started from the middle of last season when they addressed this defense and started to almost be a better defense midway through the season all by its own, simply because they actually had they addressed Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle, in the middle of the line, middle of last season, as well as even in the offseason, they added another Green Bay Packers defensive tackle in Rashawn Gary. So they've made improvements throughout from now until when they drafted Caleb Downs, but I do think it'll all be attributed to him. That's why I have Caleb Downs plus 700 as my winner.
I would say also the one to watch outside of these guys would be, don't forget Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese could have a big season for the Giants.
I really like him. I just think that defense is so stacked, and he's going to be splitting so stacked at that position, and he's going to be splitting so many snaps at that position. It will be hard for him to make a name for himself, but I think he is going to have a very, very good rookie year.
Yep.
Speaking of rookie years, Offensive Rookie of the Year is our next category. Of course, we have leading the pack, even in spite of a high ankle sprain, Jeremiah Love at plus 470. We do have Fernando Mendoza as a tied option to round out the top four at plus 550. Included is Jadarian Price at plus 550. And Carnell Tate, Luke Wright's favorite pick of the entire first round, at plus 550. So those are the top four options for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going to go off this board for my Offensive Rookie of the Year because I simply don't think, first of all, I don't think that the Raiders are going to do well, obviously. But even if they somehow surprise, I don't think that there's a tenable path forward for Fernando Mendoza to start with enough volume in order to make up the distance he's going to lose from not having started at the beginning or to the middle of the season. We saw this last year with Shuck. Shuck would have been the case study for this, and I just don't think that Fernando Mendoza has a path forward for this. I do think that it's going to be the wide receiver from the 49ers, Deshaun Stribling, at plus 1,200, simply because it's a point of necessity. I think that the 49ers, if you're telling me that you're going to trust in any member of the 49ers squad to make it the entire season healthy, I think you got another thing coming. If you think that Deebo Samuel and the play style that he's become accustomed to in a 49ers uniform is going to make it through an entire season healthy, I think you got another thing coming. I think simply out of necessity, he's going to just rack up numbers that I don't know that Carnell Tate will be drawing coverage to. And plus, especially at the value, I like Deshaun Stribling at plus 1,200. Ralph?
I understand the hoopla around the Cardinal back, but such a bad offensive line, such a bad team. I just pray he doesn't get hurt. And I have a feeling he already is hurt, obviously, but I have a feeling it might turn into something worse for him this year because it's so hard to run behind a bad line. And I don't think he wins the Rookie of the Year. I really love his counterpart at Notre Dame. I love Jadarian Price. Obviously, he's a Seahawk. I get that. But the reason I love him, not only is he a great running back that really didn't get the reps he could have gotten because of Love being in front of him, but with a Seahawk offensive line that is a good offensive line that's going to open holes for him, and as fast as he is, I can see him doing some damage his rookie season. I can see him getting around 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. I mean, I think he's your Rookie of the Year. I just think the situation lends itself to giving a guy with that kind of talent at that position where the opportunity right now is huge, especially with Charbonnet not ready to come back, where he can really take control and really just take over that number 1 spot. So I'm going to go with Price.
Luke?
This pains me.
Yeah, you're going to agree with me, aren't you?
No, God.
No, that would be vomitable.
That would be the issue I have is I have to go with the guy with the least amount of question marks here because I wanted to go Jeremiah Love. I think starting off the season with a high ankle sprain, with an offensive line that wasn't even good to begin with, and then loses pieces before the season even starts, it's just hard for me to continue with that pick. And then on top of that, I wanted to go Jordan Tyson. Well, he's already starting off the year with a strained hammy, so I don't really want to take him. I did consider Jadarian Price, but at the end of the day, I think that by the end of I think he's going to do really good at the start. And at the end, he's not going to be bad, but he's not going to have that same shine. And I think it's more important how you finish for better or worse than how you start when it comes to these types of things. So Mendoza and Carson Beck, I just don't think we'll get enough starts. So it kind of just leads me with just a pick that gives me shivers in the worst way. I'm going to go Carnell Tate.
Wow.
I think this was a terrible draft pick, not because Carnell Tate was a bad player, but because getting him where they got him was a bad decision. But he was 4th overall. They've invested in him. They're going to feed him the ball as much as they can. It looks like he's basically already set up to be the wide receiver 1 there, even over Calvin Ridley. I think that just by the pure volume that he's going to get throughout the entire year, I think he's going to be able to steal this award away.
So Luke, can get him the ball.
I was going to say, Luke, you and I have the same argument just for different teams. I trust Brock Purdy a hell of a lot more than I trust Cam Ward.
You do, and I do as well. I just think that team as a whole is still going to have, as long as Kittle and McCaffrey can stay healthy, which is a massive if.
Yeah.
I think that they will be enough to take away from Stribling. I think that Carnell Tate is just going to be the number 1 option, regardless of the rest of the team.
Speaking of the number 1, let's find out who each of us has as the number 1 in the NFC. I will go first here for the NFC, going from seat 7 all the way to number 1. So this one, the NFC I found to be much harder, and I have a little bit more change, I suppose, maybe a little bit. Number 7 seed at 11-6, the Philadelphia Eagles. Try as I might, I can't find any more losses than 6. The talent is up and down the roster, and while I think the subtraction of A.J. Brown is a net negative, and the fact that the starters in the preseason under a new offensive coordinator have looked terrible, I simply believe they will push their way into the playoffs. So 11-6, Philadelphia Eagles. At seed number 6, Chicago Bears with a 12-5 record. A season sweep by the claws of the Lions make it impossible for the Bears to repeat as division leaders in a highly competitive NFC North. And at seed number 5, the number 1 seed of the wild cards, at 13-4, we have the Seattle Seahawks.
You're an idiot.
A loss to the Broncos in week 6.
Oh, my God.
And a loss to the Rams to end the season squandered the idealized scenario of repeating as the number 1 seed on their way to running it forward. All right. The lowest division winner, number 4. I got the New Orleans Saints, 10-7. An up-and-down season is still good enough to win this division, as the Saints are the lone double-digit team in the NFC South. Their reward is hosting an angry Seahawks team, having just lost the division in the first round of the playoffs. Good luck with that. Number 3 seed, I got the Dallas Cowboys coming out of the NFC East at 13-4. A resurgence from the Dallas defense will allow the Cowboys to shake the Eagles from their perch as division leaders, hosting Caleb Williams and the Bears in Jerry World, awaiting them in round 1. At seed number 2, a record of 14-3, I've got the NFC North winner, the Minnesota Vikings. An 0-2 hole and a season sweep by the Bears still doesn't take away the dominance of this Vikings team that they will exhibit all season. And with their number 2 seed all but locked up, they will rest and lose to the Bears before hosting the Eagles in round 1. Which means, of course, we got the Rams at number 1 seed with a bye heading into the playoffs. Even 2 divisional losses in the form of at the 49ers and the first of the 2 meetings they have with the Seahawks doesn't dismiss the force the Rams are and will need to be this regular season. There you go. 1-7. Rams, Vikings, Cowboys, Saints, Seahawks, Bears, and Eagles. Let's go to you there, Ralph, since we know where you're going to go for your seating, at least at the top.
At 7, I have Dallas.
Okay.
I think Dallas sneaks into the playoffs this year, which should be interesting. At 6, I have the Niners. I think they find a way to stay healthy enough to get a playoff. They're just such a talented team. If they can just be partially healthy, they could actually show and be in the playoffs this year. We'll see. I'm going to give them the respect and put them in at 6. I really don't want to, but I'm going to.
Do you have them winning a Seahawks game? Because I don't mean that as inflammatory.
I think they could.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
they play Seattle really well.
And yeah, in order for them to make the playoffs, they have to have a win against, if not both, against the Rams and the Seahawks.
I can see them getting 1 against each.
Yeah.
If they stay healthy.
Okay.
At 5, I've got the Rams. I have the Rams as the second best team in the conference that will wind up being the 5 seed again.
Okay.
At 4, I'm with you. I've got the Saints. I think the Saints are going to win that division. I think they're the surprise team this year. I think they're even going to pull off a playoff win. So I like the Saints at 4. At 3, I got the Eagles. There's nothing sexy about them, but they're just safe. You know, I just think they're going to win that division again. They seem to be owning that division lately. So I stay with the Eagles. At 2, I got the Bears. I'm still impressed with the Bears. I think they're going to grow off of last year. I think year 2 under Ben Johnson, they're just going to take even a bigger leap. They're going to be tough this year. So I really like the Bears at 2. And we know where I'm going at 1. I'm going to take the champ until you knock them out. And right now, I think the champ is still the best team in football. So I'm going to stay with Seattle.
Undefeated.
Number 1 seed. And I'll tell you right now, with the number 1 seed, they're going to be tough in the playoffs. But that's who I've got.
Fair enough. How many, you don't have to go through all of it, but how many losses would you think that they'd have to get in order to maintain the number 1 seed in DC?
I think it'll in DC?
No, in order to, how many do you see for the whole season?
For Seattle?
Yeah. 2?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. Okay.
Max 3.
Yeah, I'm shocked you think it's that many. This team's undefeated.
I really think they can win 15 this year. They won 14 last year. I think they can do 15 this year.
Luke.
Oh, it's time to get a little spicy here. I think y'all are very boring.
Yeah, I know.
boring here.
That when looking upon my predictions, I'm like, outside of like the Saints, there's like nothing new, and I hate that.
Actually, I think the only interesting one you had was Minnesota winning the division.
Yeah.
Number 7, I have Dallas Cowboys. I like the offense. I like the defense. I think that they can make it to the playoffs in number 7. I think that this is the conference that everyone has 11 plus wins for all of the wild cards. So I have Dallas in number 7. For number 6, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't really believe in them at all. Yeah.
You are spicy.
How
I
about
just did
you
the
wait?
math.
How about you wait?
Oh
Don't
my
ruin
gosh.
this.
For those keeping track at home,
Don't ruin it.
you can't win the division if you're seat number 6.
I have them at number 6. To be honest, I consider just not having them in at all. I just think that their schedule is too good.
The Eagles?
Yes, I don't believe in Sirianni. I don't think that this team is as real. I just think that it's a fugazi.
Wow.
Volatile,
Good word for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Number 5, I have Seattle. I think that they will be the number 1 wild card spot.
You're wrong.
I think if it wasn't for the Rams, they would be number 1 seed. But hey, number 4. I don't know if it's a surprise pick anymore. I have the Saints.
I think we are the abnormality. Like all of us, for whatever reason, just happened to land on this. I do not think that this is the national thought that the Saints are good. We just happen to individually. We don't even talk about it. This makes it seem like we all just in our group chat go and talk about the Saints here up and down. And it's not true.
To be clear, they are currently second with odds.
Well, second, but
I mean, Bucks are plus 170. The Saints are only plus 270.
Wait,
so
who's 3? Who's 3?
Panthers at 310.
Okay, so
and
there are
Falcons
levels
at 400.
There are levels to it. Okay,
each one just kind of went to another tier of hundreds. But I have Saints at number 4. I like what they showed last year. I think that they will improve. I think if Jordan Tyson can stay healthy, that offense gets even scarier. I like the Saints to win that terrible division.
Like the Saints, and he hates bowls. That's pretty much what that pick is.
Basically. Number 3. Get ready for some spice.
Is this where it is? I hate this.
Number 3.
So stupid.
The winner of the NFC East.
You're not
the
gonna
New
I knew it.
York Giants.
Dad, this is your Titans pick. Continue.
Yep.
This is your worst to first team in the NFL this year. There's always one. I think adding John Harbaugh as your head coach, I think adding Arvell Reese in the draft, I think having a healthy Scadaboo, who's already doing backflips, by the way, I think that this team is good. And I think that last year they suffered from incompetent coaching and bad injuries early on, like Malik Neighbors and Cam Scadaboo.
Mm-hmm.
This team upset the Eagles last year, and everybody just like waved it away because they instantly started getting hurt. What's that face for, Phil?
Did they beat the Eagles?
Yes. It was Cam Scadaboo. He had like 50 points on like a Thursday night football.
Yeah.
This happened.
You can continue. I'll verify.
Yeah, you look it up and prove me right again. You should be used to that by now. I think the Giants win this division. This is the first time the Eagles were the first team to ever in like 15 years win the division back to back. I think we go into another streak of just constant new winners. Yeah, I know, Phil. Go ahead. Say it for the audience.
They did.
Yeah.
Thursday night. I forgot about that day.
I believe they almost swept them. I think the second game was
the second one was where they lost Scadaboo, no?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm pretty sure
That might have been it, but I think they were pretty close to winning until Scadaboo got hurt.
Yeah, because that was the one, because we even look at the rushing, and Scadaboo had a high the week before at Denver, and then Philadelphia. We then start to see the random Tracy Jr. rushing stats. Okay,
so that is who I have as my 3rd seed. Number 2 seed.
Absurd.
I have the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
This is also going to be a little spicy later on in the show. Little foreshadowing for you there. But I have Chicago Bears winning the division. I don't know if anybody noticed, but
no Packers, no Lions,
no Packers,
Vikings.
no Lions or Vikings. I
Wow.
almost put the Vikings in over the Eagles. I almost made that change. I need to see Kyler prove it before I'm willing to give him credit for it. And then number one, I kind of already said it. We've mentioned it several times throughout the past several months. I think the best team in the NFC and the best team in the entire National Football League is the Los Angeles Rams. I think they get the number 1 seed this year. And I think that it will be a fight. If at the end of the season, the Seahawks do end up getting the 1st seed, I'm not going to be shocked because that is a very good team. That is a great team. I'm just not going to give Ralph the satisfaction of declaring them the best team of all time and the undisputed, undefeated team who's going to go 19, 20-0, win the Super Bowl. Every game will be a 50-point blowout. Jadarian Price is probably going to run for 3,000 yards if I'm Ralph.
That's under. That's definitely, too little.
Yeah, for sure. They're the first team in NFL history with a 2,000-yard rusher and a 5,000-yard passer is, I think, what Ralph's expecting.
That could happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to see that.
JSN breaks 2K receiving yards.
Oh.
Greatest
Sam
team.
Darnold, that could happen.
Sam Darnold, first unanimous MVP. There we go.
Yeah, those are my seedings for the NFC.
So a couple things that I note whenever we do this, all of us have the NFC North as the number 2 seed here in our projections. And also, speaking of the NFC North, don't have the Packers in. None of us had the Packers in. We all kind of predict like a blase, just run-of-the-mill. I mean, nobody thinks the Packers are going to be bad this year, right? Does anybody predict either the Packers or the Lions to be bad?
What are we defining? Like, I think for the Packers, they will be bad.
Well, missing the playoffs is one thing, but I think that anywhere from 7 and below wins we begin to get into bad territory.
I could see 7 wins. I do not like Jordan Love. I don't think he's consistent enough. I think he's consistently shown us how inconsistent he will be throughout the year.
He showed you that last night against their Broncos defense.
Yeah. I do think something interesting to note. All of us have the divisions in the same order for the NFC.
Yeah.
We all have the West at 1, the North at 2, the East at 3, and the South for 4.
Yep.
It almost the formula writes itself in that specific degree, and I bet that that's probably a DraftKings special there that you can predict those seeds, because I do think you're almost guaranteed the 1 and the 4 to be specifically the West and then the South respectively. It's just the North versus the East on which one. I'm trying to think. Are there any? Were there any teams that you're? So it sounds like for you specifically, Luke, the Minnesota Vikings were just on the outside looking in. Ralph, I don't know if you had a team that was just about to possibly make it that you could be convinced would make it in or not.
I think the Commanders will be interesting.
I didn't know.
Jake Daniels have a bounce back year, and if he does, what does that mean to the Commanders? If he does, I mean, depending on whether he's getting other numbers retired or if he's still flipping out.
Well, we know he can never be a top 5 quarterback. He can either be a top 6 or top 4.
Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of years. They'll go as he goes, but if he has a strong year, I mean, they become very interesting in the playoff picture.
That's interesting. I did wonder for a minute there, Luke, if instead of just the blasphemous New York Giants winning the third, I thought that I could have been convinced that there was a path there for the Washington Commanders. For there to be a path there for the Giants is just ludicrous to me.
What have the Commanders done?
I don't agree with it. Obviously, I don't have them in my playoffs. I'm just
but that's insane that you think that the Commanders who've done nothing had a better.
They're 1 year removed from an NFC Championship appearance, so
which,
with much
if
the same
we're
roster.
all being honest, and if we looked at it, I think that was more of a fluke than anything.
I can agree with that, but it doesn't mean that the fluke can't repeat itself, and at least a lot of the roster remains the same. That they have that same capability.
What don't you like about the moves the Giants have made? They've gotten better at head coach.
I don't know
getting their. That's insane to think.
I don't know that the game has not passed that man by. I do not.
But you think that he is not an improvement on Brian Dable?
I don't necessarily know that. I know.
You're high.
whenever we look at some of the best seasons that Josh Allen has had, when we saw how he ascended, it was under Brian Daboll. I don't know that necessarily Brian Daboll's a fantastic head coach, but I do know that John Harbaugh has underperformed at many times. It seems like the game has passed him by, and certainly does not have a very good control of the locker room as it currently stands in the New York Giants locker room. Currently, never had a connection with his quarterback in Lamar Jackson, never seemed to have an understanding of when and where his quarterback would play. And it seems even now that the New York Giants just simply look a mess, and they keep bringing in like the wrong people, whether it be on the offensive line or in other forms of players that he did have a connection with, and it's the wrong hire. New York Giants, I think, are going to be amongst the worst teams here, even though that they have the talent to not necessarily be so. I think that that's probably your worst take of the whole predictions.
That's insane. This is clearly you have a grudge against Harbaugh, and so you're just throwing away every other good move that they made. Like you don't think
and they cut Juju Smith-Schuster. How dare they?
That's a win, first of all. The biggest loss they've had is losing the GOAT Wan'Dale Robinson.
They've made a lot of moves.
They made a lot of moves.
You can't say that they've made good moves or bad moves yet. You can just say they've made a lot of moves.
I mean, you could say that about everything.
No, but I mean, for
Kenneth Walker's not the Chiefs signing Kenneth Walker is not a bad or good move for Seattle or the Chiefs.
But they have a history at least behind that. You can.
If I can't say that about the Giants moves, you can't say that about
here's why I say that. And I'll say this to match what I would say about Scatterboo, who I love. Injury prone, right? Scatterboo could be done for the season by week 5 because his style of play dictates that he's going to get hurt a lot. And so I think you need him healthy for 16 games, 17 games to make an impact. And I just don't think you're going to get that from him. And I think that's a problem. And Jackson Dart, who I do like, I'm not 100% sold on yet. I need to see more from Jackson Dart. He's one of those guys, we haven't seen a whole lot from him, even in his college career. We've never really got to see a ton from him. I want to see him be more consistent and do some really special things this year to convince me that they're actually a contender. Right now, he's not that guy yet, and I can't rely on Scatterboo. Malik Neighbors, I have to see how he responds to his injury and what kind of injury he has.
His starting ability is still up in the air. My
too many unknowns right now for them. But I understand why you would make that decision because they have done a lot. We're just going to see how it goes. I like the fact that they haven't been stagnant, and it seems like they've brought in good guys, unlike a team like the Cardinals that just either stays stagnant or brings in really bad players. Yeah. They seem to be trying to get better and change the narrative. We'll have to see how it flows this year. This is a big year for them where I think next year we could be having the conversation of the Giants could win a division. The Giants are a playoff contender, but I think you're premature. Like your wife says, I think you're a little premature.
Yeah, I still think that this is a better prediction than whatever Phil was smoking last year with the Titans.
Well, yeah, that was just stupid.
That was the dumbest thing we've heard of.
I think the Giants are closer to the number 1 overall pick than they are the playoffs. And the Titans, they were pretty close to themselves.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, let's go back to the awards. Now that we have our playoff field in its entirety for both conferences, we go to the comeback player of the year. It's actually a loaded field this year. No guys that literally died on the field. That's a first for a couple of years. Wow. But we will go to people that put it all out on the field. And Patrick Mahomes is our leading candidate here at plus 200. Kyler Murray at plus 470. Some would say, was there an injury or was he just bad? Jaden Daniels plus 700. And he's talking about Spice. Spicy number 4 here. I don't even know if you guys know this. And it took me a second. I was like, yeah, I guess he counts. Aaron Donald, plus 750.
Oh my God.
Just saying. Fun little one. All right. Let's go. Let's go with you, Luke. Why and how is it going to be Aaron Donald?
I love that you're still convinced he's coming back. This dude's stringing you along all off season.
Buddy put out the best.
Look at all the workouts I'm doing. I got my little Rams helmet on. And Phil just sitting there watching.
Did you see his mobility workouts? It looks like he's been sitting for a year.
Oh, my God.
2.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, he looks old when he's moving.
Oh my
comeback player of the year. I thought that this was a little of a weird year to pick one of these. I don't have a huge amount of faith in a lot of them. So I'm just going to kind of throw a dart, and I'm just going to say Kyler Murray. I think he was hurt, and then it just became
Ralph's puking.
Wow,
over there on the side.
that really got him there.
Yeah, that was
I think that he got hurt, and then when they realized that like this is it for him, like he just kind of stayed hurt. But I do think the initial injury was real. I think that he's going to try on a pretty good team, and I think it'll be enough to win Comeback Player of the Year. I hate this award in the NFL.
The moment Damar Hamlin did not win this award, it really lost a lot of the luster.
Well, it wasn't death comeback. It was comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like Geno Smith winning it. I didn't like Damar Hamlin not winning it. Like, I think that the criteria is too vague, and I think that it just becomes even more subjective than a lot of the other awards, and it just kind of becomes like a what story do we want? What narrative do we want to push with this? And it's not a fun award to me. So I'm just going to throw out Kyler Murray and be like, here we go.
To correlate with Luke's prediction and to go along with my own season-long predictions with the Minnesota Vikings getting a number 2 overall seed in the NFC, I do have to go with Kyler Murray as well. I don't think, whenever you think about it, like you almost reverse engineer this. And then whenever you see like the results of a season that you predict, I don't think Kyler Murray will be in contention for MVP. Truly. Like I have a value bet out there, but that's all it is. This, I do think he could win. Like this would be akin to his MVP award, because I think that while they may say, oh yeah, we'll give you this is whatever, I don't think that he can win. So this feels to me a way to reward and offload validation for the success that he has this year, and without necessarily giving it to him fully for being like, oh, you're the real reason. It's just like, oh yeah, you looked good. That's what I think he can win. So I'm going to go Kyler Murray plus 470 is my pick for the Comeback Player of the Year. Let's go to Ralph, who I know is not picking Kyler Murray. So this will be the first person that goes off the board.
I think you guys are coming up a little short on this one. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is easy. I mean, this is really easy, and I don't even understand how you guys aren't even going this direction. This is kind of crazy. Patrick Mahomes is going to be your Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, you guys are missing out on this. You know he's going to come back and play ball. I mean, he's going to ball, and they'll be in the playoffs, and they probably win a division, and he's absolutely going to be Comeback Player. They're going to recognize him. The media will be all over this guy. You know how he's a media darling. They'll be all over this guy, and he'll win this award going away. It won't even be close. Maybe the distant number 2 might be like a Jaden Daniels if he has a good year, but I don't see anyone touching Patrick Mahomes for this award. He's going to win this hands down. This is simple.
I did think about him. He can't win that award, I think, if he doesn't make a good attempt at making the playoffs. And I think they barely get into the playoffs.
Again,
and even then,
there's a correlation there of what you think.
I think, like at the end of the day, how does that team look? If it looks like it's Spags on defense is doing the bulk of the work, and it's Kenneth Walker is somehow able to carry the offense, I don't think Mahomes wins it. However, if he does win it, I wouldn't be shocked. I looked at possibly choosing him.
So if we move along to the Coach of the Year award, this was shocking to me. Obviously, not shocking to Luke. Number 1 candidate, John Harbaugh of the Giants at plus 650. Jesse Minter is plus 850. Kevin Stefanski at plus 1400. And Kellen Moore at plus 1400 as well.
This is easy.
Go ahead, Ralph. Who do you have as winning this award?
Kellen Moore. We're all talking about how the Saints are going to win their division and get in the playoffs. I think they're going to probably win a playoff game. If they do that, how do you not give this award to Kellen Moore? I mean,
they win a playoff game. No, hold on. They win a playoff game potentially against either the Rams or the Seahawks. Insane. Continue.
We're going to talk about playoffs, but I think hands down with what I think we'll see from the Saints this year, Kellen Moore gets this award. He'll be the most deserving of this award. I think of those guys you just mentioned. I think his team will be the most solid. He'll do the best work. I like what he did last year. I like how he approached it last year. Guy seems pretty solid. I look forward to him winning this award this year. I don't think it's even close again. Kellen Moore all day long.
Ralph says it's obvious to him. I have to imagine this is obvious to Luke, especially given his spice, his Dune spice, and hitting the pounding the sand down there over there in Spice World. Go ahead, Luke. Who do you have winning the Coach of the Year?
I have the division winning head coach of the Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson, winning Coach of the Year.
Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think if they get another 2 seed this year and they do even better, I think that he ends up getting it over the over Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore. I think Ben Johnson I think there's a case to be made that he deserved it last year. I think Mike Vrabel just kind of got lucky, and I think he also got lucky. Stuff. I think he got a little lucky that the Rossini stuff didn't come out till the offseason, because if that had been hanging over his head during the season, then I think Ben Johnson might have actually won it last year. But I think that he is somebody who deserves to be talked about in this discussion. I think the turnaround that he's done with the Bears in such a quick amount of time, he deserves to be in this discussion. And I think that if he can do the things that I think the Bears will do this upcoming season, I do think that he will win Coach of the Year.
Based on what you just said, if that was the case and that's how this award went, wouldn't you then make the case that Mike McDonald should have won last year?
I think Mike McDonald deserved it more than Mike Vrabel.
Oh, absolutely.
If that's what you're asking me, yes.
But I think this award never goes to that guy. Like Ben Johnson's, Mike McDonald, those guys are never going to win this award, even though they're probably the best coaches in the league. That's my opinion.
That's why, Luke, I'm actually shocked, because if your predictions were to come true of the Giants winning the division and getting a 3rd seed, I would think that just narratively, again, with coupled with what Ralph just said, that John Harbaugh would be a slam dunk case narratively for them to give it, especially like it's right there. First year to immediately go from worst to first, like that to me for you would be the obvious winner. And also, especially with value, go. It's a match made in Luke Wright value heaven.
I think that they like giving it to younger coaches. So it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if McDonald wins it this year as basically like a make good for last year. Like I could see that as well. I just think Kellen Moore, I don't think won't be deserving of it. I just think that at the end of the day, there's so many other young coaches that are doing kind of roughly the same thing that he's probably going to end up getting passed over it this year.
So I'm going off the board here. The top 4. It's certainly not betting my hard-earned money on John Harbaugh. Couldn't see me doing that. My goodness. I'm going off yeah, that's so true. I'm going to go with the number 1 overall seed in the standings in Sean McVay at plus 3,300. Now, I get it. He's already won before. And couple that with they usually like to move this award around, because essentially for coaches, it'd be like giving the MVP, like they only give out the MVP. They don't have other awards with which to reward coaching necessarily, unless you're an assistant and then whatever. But again, so because of that, they like to often move this around. Like Andy Reid only has 1 in his tenure. Bill Belichick only has 1. It's crazy. So it is a bit of a risk in that. However, I don't think Matthew Stafford would necessarily be rewarded with an MVP in back-to-back seasons with this current iteration of the super team. I don't think, especially with how dominant they are and how much they have in my current projections, I think that this is how you reward the team and recognize their excellence in an overall season of dominance in the form of Sean McVay. I think that that's how you do it. So it's risky. That's why it's not one of the top 4. And I do think that the way that he wins it now is certainly different than the first year that he won it. When he won it, he wins it closer to the narrative we just talked about with John Harbaugh, where he won it first year with the Rams, takes on Jared Goff, grooms him to be a playoff caliber quarterback, and then they surprise everybody. Makes sense. So this will be a very different version of how he wins the Coach of the Year. That's where I go. I just simply as a recognition of number 1 overall seed in the entire NFL. So let's go. Now, we've talked about our playoff seeds, and let's actually go to the matchups here. So for the AFC playoffs, Luke, you're going all the way to the Super Bowl. So I want you to go you're number 7 at number 2 seed. I want you to go during the wild card round. I want to go through the divisional round and through the AFC championship. So go ahead, Luke. I'll clear the runway for you.
Okay. 2-7 matchup for me would have been Bills Chiefs. I have the Bills winning that and moving on. 3-6 is Texans Jags. I have the Texans moving on to face the Bills.
And Jags are at the Texans in yours, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And Houston moves on to face the Bills in the divisional round. Final one is Bengals Chargers in Cincinnati. I have the Bengals winning that to face the Broncos in the divisional round.
Honestly, that would be so brutal for Justin Herbert yet again. Just having another appearance in the playoffs and having a somewhat good year in your iterations, and then just out in round 1 again. Crazy.
Be better. Be better, Justin Herbert. Let's take it out of the hypothetical. Let's put it into the actual.
There we go.
And then I have
divisional round.
Divisional round. Denver Broncos, Cincinnati Bengals in Denver at the Mile High Stadium. I have Denver winning and moving on to another AFC championship. Other one, we have Houston traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. I have Buffalo winning that game at home. I think it's another good game. I think that this, to me, will be the make it break it for CJ Stroud. You have to be at minimum, you have to not be the reason you get blown out, but you have to be able to prove to the organization that you are their quarterback and that you will be able to help guide them further. And I don't think that he's able to get the actual win against Josh Allen this particular year. And then we have Buffalo traveling to Mile High, a snowy game again. Sean Payton learns from his mistakes. He goes.
God, I hate that.
He knows when to go for it on 4th down. He knows when to kick the field goal. Why does he know this? Because he's not in charge of the play calling capabilities anymore. Yeah. All he has to do is say, go for it, my man. And somebody else gets us there. I have Denver winning the AFC and making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, baby. I want to live in that fantasy. I love it.
I'm living in it, baby. And that's my AFC playoff bracket.
All right. Denver goes all the way to the Super Bowl in Luke Wright's AFC playoffs. Ralph, how do you have the Broncos making it to the Super Bowl?
Well, let's see. My 2-7 would be Baltimore, Cincinnati, which would be a heck of a 2-7. By the way,
that'd be great.
I've got Baltimore squeaking out that one, knocking Cincinnati out, your division winner. Gone. My 3-6 would be Houston, Denver. And I'm sorry, I got Houston taking you guys out.
That's a brutal. That would be a that would be a 3-6 game.
Yep.
Good God.
I think CJ Stroud, that's his make or break game, and he does it, and he beats Denver like a 23-20 game.
That would do it. That would make it.
And then I have my 4-5, which would be New England against Kansas City. And I've got Kansas City eking it out.
Makes sense.
Eking it out. So then I would
divisional round.
My divisional round, I believe, would then be Kansas City, right? Would it be Kansas City going to Buffalo? Yes.
I believe
the highest seed versus lowest seed.
So Kansas City would be the 4 seed. They'd be the highest seed going to Buffalo, I believe. Let me see here.
Who's your number 1 seed?
My number 1 is Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah, so then the Chiefs are going to Buffalo.
And the Chiefs will lose in Buffalo.
Wow.
Buffalo is going to make that new stadium feel really good this year. That's my opinion. I think that's going to be a good thing for them.
Gee, I wonder where this is going to lead.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no.
Then I would have Baltimore, Houston, right? And then I would have that'd be a great game. And I think Baltimore is just the better team, and they would win that game. Setting up an AFC championship of Baltimore at Buffalo. The 2 best teams that everybody wants to see. And I think Josh Allen squeaks it out at the end.
Wow.
30-27, Buffalo goes to the Super Bowl for the first time since their 4th loss in a row.
You guys have a lot of faith in a rookie head coach, unproven guy. Okay, let's go.
But a guy that's been there.
All right. We got one for the Broncos, one for Buffalo, making it all the way to the Super Bowl. Here we go. My wild card round. The Chargers heading to Denver Broncos at number 2 seed. Was there any doubt the Broncos are winning this? There's no chance whatsoever.
None.
Yeah. That particular matchup, done. The Houston Texans, number 6 seed, heading to the number 3 seeded Jacksonville Jaguars in my simulation. I do have the Houston Texans winning this game. If there's ever a time to doubt Trevor Lawrence, it's whenever he's got a nasty line heading towards him right up in his face. I will go the Houston Texans righting that wrong. And number 5 seed heading to at number 4 Buffalo. I am just offended that you thought that there's any chance whatsoever that Kansas City loses to Buffalo. They never do that. I'll believe that when I see it. In the playoffs, specifically, I should say. Kansas City moves along. That's my wild card round.
It's your hope.
Divisional round. We got the number 1 seeded Bengals hosting the number 6 seeded Houston Texans. Cincinnati wins that game. I don't know how. Somebody got injured, but Cincinnati's winning that game. We got the number 5 seeded Kansas City Chiefs going over to Mile High in Denver. And unfortunately, the Denver Broncos just absolutely embarrassed the Chiefs. And so they go on, baby. They go on to the AFC Championship where the number 1 seeded Cincinnati Bengals host the Denver Broncos. And Broncos finally making it back to that Super Bowl. You thought that there was a chance in hell that I'm not having the Denver Broncos make it to the Super Bowl. I wish that I could somehow – this is the first time in years that I predicted this. First time in years that I predicted this before the season. I feel validated. I feel good. I feel moxie. I feel hot. This is great. Let's go. Broncos to the Super Bowl. 2 out of the 3 of us are on that real stuff, sniffing the spice. Let's go. Broncos to the Super Bowl. Okay. I do find it fascinating that you have the Ravens making it all the way to the Super Bowl, though. That is, or I'm sorry, to the AFC Championship. That was a big one. Okay, that is our AFC. Let's take a breather. Go back to our award predictions. We're next going to Defensive Player of the Year. Top 4 current betting favorites are Myles Garrett, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, plus 400. Will Anderson Jr. of the Houston Texans, plus 750. Vast difference in value there. Aiden Hutchinson, plus 1,000. And then we got good old Nick Bonito, plus 1,400, which is interesting that he would be above Pat Surtain, don't you think, Luke? I mean, I guess
sacks are flashier.
Yeah, that's fair.
For better or worse, they're just flashier.
Yeah, plus 1,400. All right. Let's go to you, Luke, Defensive Player of the Year. Do you have the gusto? Do you have the bravado to go Nick Bonito?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I know. It's a team defense.
I've done enough spice for now. I'm gonna rein in the spice a little bit.
Yeah. Stop it from cumin.
I'm gonna just go chalk here. I'm gonna go as chalk can be.
Really?
And I'm just gonna say Myles Garrett wins back-to-back depoys.
Wow.
He's so good. He's gonna continue to be so good. The Rams are going to make him the focal points. And I think that they have done enough upgrades around him to where he will still be a huge force that carries that defense. And I think they make him the back-to-back depoy champ.
Ralph, who do you got winning the Defensive Player of the Year? Which Seattle Seahawks secondary player?
I mean, obviously he took the safe pick.
Yes.
I like Will Anderson Jr. We all forget about Will Anderson Jr. I think he has a breakout huge year this year with Texas. I think he will be the standout guy in the league, and he will be the Defensive Player of the Year, dethroning a Myles Garrett that has a subpar year with the Rams, that he has to deal with injuries and just doesn't have the year everyone thought he would have. I am going to go Will Anderson Jr. over an injury-riddled and disappointment of Myles Garrett. That's all wishful thinking. by the way.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You guys wanted spice. This
Oh.
is where I'm bringing the entire spice rack.
Aaron Donald.
Oh no. Oh no, we're getting spicier. I would say spicier.
Lawrence Taylor.
Funny you should mention Lawrence Taylor. This player would be the second to win as a rookie since Lawrence Taylor. Give me Caleb Downs at plus 30,000.
Oh gosh, stop.
Oh, we're just saying stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
come on.
When I tell you, I underplayed this earlier. I love me some Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs looks fantastic. Not only in training camp, but he's looked fantastic. He was probably the most ready-made plug-and-play player in the entire draft. When you pair that with a secondary with which he will gain all the credit for improving and be able to enjoy the rewards that an improved defensive line give him, when you couple that with the idea that he is playing for the Dallas Cowboys, being amongst the most publicized brand in all of sports, not just NFL, but in all of sports. And when you consider that in my projection, he is the defensive stalwart of a number 3 seeded Dallas Cowboys team that will be in contention the entire year for a number 1 seed pretty much. I have to imagine he will be gaining a lot of credit for an overly improved defensive ability and defense overall. I've got Caleb Downs as at least the value of defensive player of the year. I think that this is just throw a few schmeckles that way and at least cash out near the end of the year. I'm telling you, Caleb Downs, we love it. We love to see it.
As a disclaimer to our audience, Phil's opinions and statements are not those supported by this show. They're purely his on a personal level, and we can give you his address and phone number if you'd like. Because the last time a rookie won,
Lawrence Taylor,
defensive player of the year, Lawrence Taylor in 81,
yes.
Earl Campbell in 78 on the offensive side. It doesn't happen in today's game. It will never happen. I will bet you $1 million he will not win that.
Yeah.
And there's no way.
You know,
it never will happen. Not in today's game.
If nothing else, the naming rights of the Ralph Mansion, I'll take that. All right. So there we go. That is the spiciest I am just going to get. Luke
is dumber than saying the Giants will win the division.
That's hallucinogenic. It's not spicy.
We shall see. We shall see. Offensive player of the year. We are back in reality here. The top 4 candidates for this award heading into the season. We got Jahmyr Gibbs at plus 650. We've got Bijan Robinson at plus 900. We got Jamar Chase at plus 1,000 and Puka Nacua at plus 1,300. And it's funny, Jahmyr Gibbs is at plus 650, and yet none of us have the Lions making the playoffs. We talked about the Packers earlier. I'd imagine we're even lower on the Lions collectively. So I'd imagine none of us are going to go there. I'll start first, though. Offensive player of the year. I have the number 4 over here, Puka Nacua. Much to the similar argument that I made for Sean McVay, I do think that Puka Nacua, like the things I worry about Puka Nacua are off the field. On the field, he is, it's a big worry. But on the field, the man is highly impressive. And again, I'm just looking for places with which I can, as a voter with the narrative of a 15-2 team, how do I reward a season such as this? I think that this makes more sense than a back-to-back MVP for Matthew Stafford, who you can even afford some injuries in there and still have a Puka Nacua Ty Simpson connection and see that Puka Nacua even gains more credit in spite of Matthew Staffordless game here and there potentially. So I got Puka Nacua as my offensive player of the year, thinking that might be the thing. Also, maybe some interest in Justin Jefferson. Who knows? All right. Go ahead there, Luke.
I went with a player who I also don't think their team will make the playoffs. But I do. I want to stay on a soapbox for just a second.
Oh, please.
I hate that this award has simply just become the who's not a quarterback award. I think that sucks.
The non-quarterback MVP award?
Basically.
Yeah.
I think that we as a people and as a show need to take a stand and say QBs can win offensive player of the year, and wide receivers and running backs and linemen and tight ends can win MVP. It is BS the way that they do that.
Cooper Kupp should have won that year for the MVP. Saquon Barkley should have won 2 years ago. We are in
Saquon
agreement.
Barkley was the number one thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Like, he was the MVP. It's insane that we gave it to anyone else. But anyways,
Here.
I will step off my soapbox. I have the Atlanta Falcons running back Bijan Robinson winning Offensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to have over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. I think he might have close to 20 touchdowns this year. I think he will be the only consistent source of offense on that team. That's no shade to Drake London. That's shade on whoever the hell is throwing Drake London the ball.
Whichever left-handed quarterback he's getting the ball from.
Let's not assume that both the lefties will stay healthy all year.
Wow.
So I'm going to go Bijan Robinson. I don't think the Falcons make the playoffs, but I think Bijan is just going to be such an offensive force this year that he is going to end up getting this award as basically like a, I'm sorry you're on this team. Nope. We're muting. We're not muting. Ralph, do you want to go with your offensive player there?
We might have lost Phil, which I'm not upset about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I thought you said. I'm trying to find the last player to win Offensive Player of the Year without having made the playoffs. Like, that would be bold. That would be bold. But I can find that out in the interim. Go ahead, Ralph.
So it hasn't been done, what I'm about to say, in 25 years. The last time a player went back-to-back Offensive Player of the Year, and actually Marshall Faulk did it 3 straight years, 99, 2000, 2001. That was the last time a player went back-to-back. Last year, we all know JSN, Offensive Player of the Year. Can he go back-to-back? I think no. I think JSN production will take a slight hit this year because of the full season with Rashid Shaheed in that offense. And I think they'll spread the ball around a little bit more, which I think will hurt him ultimately. Otherwise, I probably would go with him again because I think he'll be a top 2 or 3 candidate for this award because I think he'll have a great year. I think because of the extra workload that he will have this year, you have to go with Gibbs. I think he is primed and ready to have a huge year because he's the guy.
So you're also going with a player that hasn't made the playoffs,
right?
In your simulations.
Yeah. I think Gibbs, even without making the playoffs, I think that he is going to have a big year in Detroit. It's all going to be on him. And if he stays healthy, the numbers will be outrageous. And I think that we'll see him win this award. I think JSN will be on his butt, but I think Rashid Shaheed having that full year in that offense is really going to hurt him a little bit. So I think I'm going to go with Gibbs to have the edge.
I think the interesting case study of this would have been the Adrian Peterson year where he won the MVP. He was like that team, that Vikings team was barely able to qualify for the playoffs. It took to like the last 2 games. That's why he was still rushing as hard as he was.
Yeah.
Had that team not made the playoffs, I wonder whether or not he would have won MVP because he won MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, if memory serves. And Peyton Manning won Comeback Player of the Year that year because they were both in contention for like both awards, for all of the awards, I should say. So that would be fascinating because what I just found out that Larry Brown was the last player to win Offensive Player of the Year without having made the playoffs.
I think that might not be true.
Not even that. Yeah.
No, I think it's more recent.
Oh,
unless something's wrong. It looks like Priest Holmes in 2002.
Oh, wow. So there we go. It would be a rarity that both of you are calling for. I think, geez, even in my simulations, Jamar Chase would be understandable in this particular simulation. Okay, so there we go. We have some good job, boys. We all came up with some good ones there. I like them. Let's go. We already did it for the AFC. Let's see who the Denver Broncos are meeting in the Super Bowl from the NFC. Ralph,
all right,
you go ahead first.
So we'll start with my 2-7 matchup, which will be the Dallas Cowboys at Chicago to face those Bears, which they will get destroyed and they will lose to those Bears, and the Bears will move on. I then have the 49ers limping into Philadelphia to play the Eagles, where they will lose to the Eagles, and the Eagles will move on. I then have the number 5 seeded Rams visiting the number 4 seeded Saints.
Yes.
And this is where it gets crazy.
No.
The Saints knock the Rams out of the playoffs. And the Saints get their win. And this is why Kellen Moore wins his Coach of the Year. Because I think the Rams go down to the upstart Saints, who don't know any better, have nothing to lose, and just put it all out there and win this game.
Just remember, playoffs do not count towards Coach of the Year vote.
I know, but I'm making it count. All right.
Post-stating it.
Then I have my top 4 seeds. So now I've got those upstart Saints taking that momentum and going into Seattle and finding out that it's really hard to win in Seattle, and they get beat.
That's incredible that they're back-to-back reward for you beat the Rams. Congratulations. You now get the Seahawks. That would be an awful draw just for the Saints.
And you lose. And then those Eagles going to Chicago thinking they got a shot, but they don't. This time the Bears pull it out and they go to the NFC Championship game, deservedly so, as that's just a great team. That leaves us with Seattle and Chicago in the NFC Championship game, which I think would be a fantastic game. And I think the difference here is going to be the defense. And I just think Seattle's defense will make it a game, and they will win this game barely over the Chicago Bears and go to the 2nd consecutive Super Bowl to face the Buffalo Bills.
You have a lot of faith in the Bears. I guess I didn't even realize just how much you like the Bears. You really like the Bears.
Good team.
Yeah, you said that they're a good team. Before we leave the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills for Ralph, Bitter Dolphin fan does ask you, Ralph, talking about your Offensive Player of the Year. Ralph, are you not concerned that Jahmyr Gibbs might be overworked with Montgomery gone?
No, I'm actually banking on that.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason that he gets the MVP, because he's going to get the work. And as long as he stays, it goes for everybody, right? As long as they stay healthy, he's proven that he could be a heck of a contributor. And I think because of that reason, that's why he gets the award and has a huge year. So as long as he stays healthy, we'll see.
I will go next and reveal my NFC playoff picture. So for the wild card, I have the number 7 seeded Philadelphia Eagles going to Minnesota. I was going to go for their thing, but it's the U.S. Bank Stadium. I don't know, for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Minnesota Vikings skull their way to an advancement, beating the Eagles, who just are mercifully put out of their misery.
I guess you could say they locked down the vault.
I guess they could. Number 6 seeded Chicago Bears traveling all the way to Jerry's World in Dallas. And I have the Dallas Cowboys beating the Bears and saying, Caleb, not so fast.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big one for you.
Bold.
And then I have the Seattle Seahawks getting spicy in the Dome.
Here we go.
The number 4 seeded New Orleans Saints. And there's no way that the Saints are beating the Seahawks. I guess then that we can agree. Seahawks are advancing past the Saints, no matter what the shuck you want to say. And then we go to the divisional matchups. We all want it. It's just coming around earlier than I think we'd want. Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. We get the matchup. Rams right the wrong. Rams move along. Number 1 seed keeps going. Rams go. Next, we got the number 3 seeded Dallas Cowboys at the number 2 seeded Minnesota Vikings. This is where Kyler's journey comes up a little short. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Minnesota Vikings and make it to the NFC Championship.
Insanity.
I know, isn't it?
That game is insanity because it'll never happen. But
the fervor would be crazy. So, which leads the way for an NFC Championship. The number 3 seeded Dallas Cowboys go to the Los Angeles Rams for the right to face the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Roll.
You guys already know what you guys already know. Dallas Cowboys upset the Los Angeles Rams and make it to the Super Bowl.
I mean, the Rams with cheerleaders could beat them. Come on.
Look, I think that we could have a potential Victor Wembanyama moment where the Rams get a little fat and happy having beat and squashed the evil that is the Seattle Seahawks. And quite honestly, it's a long season. Dallas Cowboys, I think, play a lot better when you look at their splits on the road versus at home. And I think for a game such as this, being on the road actually helps them. I think that it also, for the Los Angeles Rams, having a home game, like the stadium for them matters the least amount. Like if this were Dallas Cowboys at Seahawks, I would not have it this way.
You
But
are
I do.
so full of it.
I know.
This
I
is
got the.
totally to play into your whole thing here of wanting Denver to win, knowing you can't beat the Rams, so you put the Cowboys in there because you know you'll beat them. So funny.
I got the Cowboys in the Super Bowl against Denver.
Of course you do.
Can you feel the spice tonight?
You feel the
Luke?
BS, yeah.
Luke, try and justify your Giants getting to the Super Bowl.
That Cowboys in the Super Bowl might be dumber than Giants winning their division.
I agree.
It isn't crazy that you jumped on me so badly early on and then proceeded to do terrible take after terrible take to follow it up.
I love it.
Number 2 seeded Bears in my first wildcard matchup against the number 7 seeded Cowboys. I have the Bears winning. Bears are better. I do not believe that Dallas will be able to continue their role. I think they are a good team. They are not a Super Bowl caliber team. I have my number 3 seeded Giants playing the number 6 seeded Eagles. As I've already previously stated, I don't really believe in the Eagles, like at all.
On that, we agree.
I think they'll be able to make it into the playoffs. I think that they have to go to New York. I think that the Giants fans will show out and that they will get the win and they will move on to the divisional round. Let's see here. Last final one, fourth seeded Saints, 5th seeded Seahawks. I'm not going to go crazy here. I'm not going to say something insane like the Saints getting an upset against one of the 2 best teams in the league. Saints lose. Even at home, they lose.
Saints lose. I love it.
It's a pretty story. It will give them hope and experience for next year. They're not beating the Seahawks. Seahawks move on. The Seahawks move on to the divisional round to face the number 1 seeded Los Angeles Rams. And I'm having the Rams win. This, to me, is the real NFC championship right here. These are the 2 best teams, I think, in the NFC. It just sucks that they have to be in the same division. But I do have the Rams moving on. And then we have Chicago and the Giants in Chicago. This is where the buck stops. Chicago wins. The Giants are just not able to compete with this level of team. And Chicago moves on to the NFC Championship where they will face the Los Angeles Rams.
Ooh, a rematch as well of last year.
It is a rematch. I think the Rams get their revenge and the Rams win in LA. What
Get revenge.
Yeah, I was going to say revenge.
Am I thinking of a different game?
You're thinking of it because the Rams faced the Seahawks in the NFC Championship. Caleb had that amazing throw, but he lost. It was.
What am I thinking? Oh, you know what I got mixed up with? Because it was a snow game, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I got mixed up with the Rams Eagles snow game from 2
Yes.
years ago, I believe.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I got mixed up with.
All right.
Well,
so
they don't get their revenge. They continue their dominance, and they beat the Chicago Bears again, but this time in their own home. And they move on to face the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl.
So Luke has the Rams facing the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Ralph has the Seahawks facing the Bills in the Super Bowl. And I have the Broncos facing the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Yours is the worst.
By far.
Like, not even close.
Not even close. All right. Before we go on to who wins the Super Bowl, let's go and visit who we think will win the MVP. Now, we've got the top 4 favorites in Josh Allen at plus 650, Lamar Jackson at plus 850, Joe Burrow at plus 900, and Matthew Stafford to go back-to-back at plus 900 as well. Let's go with you first here, Luke.
Well, I'm going to continue a theme that I've started to build up. I think Caleb Williams wins MVP.
Wow.
Yeah,
that would be big.
I think that they are going to give them their flowers this year. I think that they're going to have a great year. I think that Caleb Williams has shown that he can improve under Ben Johnson and that the system is only going to get better for them the longer they're in it and the more improvements they make to the personnel. I think that this is going to be an early MVP for Caleb Williams. And I think that he is going to lead them to that divisional or sorry, to the NFC Championship.
Remind me, the Bears are the number 2 seed in your standings,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So we got that. So then, in order to win the MVP, do you have the Bears then having Caleb pass more than the franchise high of 4,000 yards?
Yes.
Yeah. And then does it not worry you at all? And these are genuine questions. I feel like they're coming across as well. But like, does it not worry you at all that Ben Johnson seems to have a fervent love affair with the run game and setting that up and establishing that, even regardless of the score, if they're down or above? Does that not worry you whatsoever?
Not really. I think that they have been building up the narrative around Caleb regardless. And I think that at the end of the day, the run game has been very good with Ben Johnson. They have established it. But every time you really see those highlight game-winning plays, it's Caleb doing something insane. It's we saw like 3 or 4 just last year of just like 4th and 20, throwing it up, hitting the receiver. Like I think
Heisman moments for like
I think at the end of the day, he's proving that he can hit those big plays. And the ground game is nice when you want to, ground and pound them early. But Caleb is proving that, like, hey, they'll keep us in the game. I will win us the game. And I think that he will have several MVP moments this year. And he will use all of those to like just continually go up and up. I think he will be one of the like top 3 favorites probably by like halfway through the season.
Okay. So you have him winning it more so as a highlight quarterback than potentially like eye-popping numbers per se.
Yeah, he's not going to be 5,000 yards. I don't think it'll be something like that. But I'm going to see like 4,200 yards. I think it'll be high 30s touchdowns. I think you're going to see a very low interception total, and I think you're going to see another like 300 to 400 yards rushing with another like handful of rushing touchdowns as well.
Okay. Ralph, Jadarian Price for MVP?
No. I think the MVP formula is simple, and Luke's kind of hitting on it, right? Elite quarterback, huge stats, top 2 conference seed. Usually you find your MVP.
Yeah.
Which, based on what Luke is predicting, that would be Caleb would fit that most likely. I'm going to go on the other conference, and I'm going to say I think Josh Allen's going to be that guy again this year. I think he'll have big numbers. I think he'll throw for 4,500 plus yards. I think he'll throw for 35 plus touchdowns. He'll probably have 500-600 yards rushing, another 8 to 10 touchdowns on the ground. Just a big year. Buffalo probably finishing 13 wins, 14 wins, being a top 2 seed. All the same stuff that he's going to need to win that award. And I think he can win that award again because of that. So I'm going to predict him at this point. I would not be surprised to see Caleb have the year you're talking about and win the award as well. And I would be happy with that. I love Caleb Williams. But I just think Josh Allen there's something going into this year, new stadium, new Buffalo. I mean, I just feel like they've got to do it this year. And I think he's taken it on this year to have a big year. And I think he's going to really go over the top this season and have that huge year. So I'm going to go Josh Allen, but I think Caleb Williams could be a close second.
All right. For my MVP, if you remember my standings, we've all discussed this. The formula has become, well, formulaic. And as such, I would be foolish to not take a number 1 seed here. Which would be, I think Joe Burrow would be my MVP here. It's almost guaranteed. Like if you make a prediction this bold, you in order to do this, it would need to be under an MVP level candidacy. And I think he's capable of it. Not only narratively do I think it would be appropriate, especially if they were to achieve what I think that they can achieve. But I think that the show is set for him where there's a lot of love for Joe Burrow. He's an easy guy to get along with. He certainly has eye-popping stats, and not many people would detract away from him. I think yes, he has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but the defense, even as it has been addressed with Dexter Lawrence, even if it's been addressed with moves made around the edges and drafted constantly, I do think it's still weak enough to where it will demand that they continue the offensive upheaval that they will need to have. And I think that they're fully capable of that. They could have a number 1 rated offense. And I think that Joe Burrow, as long as he can stay healthy, which they've also tried to address, but as long as he can stay healthy behind that offensive line, I think that this, with my current predictions of how the season can go, is a fairly easy pick for MVP, and thus why he's a top 4 candidate to begin with. Would anybody be surprised at Joe Burrow winning an MVP this season?
If he has the season you think he will, I definitely am not. If the Bengals have the season you think they will, he will be definitely in the discussion, if not the front runner. I mean, I
don't see the Bengals getting a number 1 seed off of their defense.
Exactly.
I don't see Chase Brown running the becoming an MVP level running back. I mean, if the Bengals have the season, to your point, Luke, that I'm projecting, then it has to be Joe Burrow would be a contender.
Yeah, even I have them winning the division and being 4th, and I still think he's going to throw up 4,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's going to have the elite numbers. It is just purely going to be whether or not he can put together the narrative and the record to back it up. So I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if he won.
I'm curious, Ralph, was there any, and then this is a genuine question, was there any consideration towards Sam Darnold being MVP here? Because I feel like just as how Luke, hold on. Just as how that there might be Luke has given up a thing that maybe there's a make good coach of the year candidacy. Do you think that there could be a make good of let's recognize Darnold now that he's kind of become really just a good story for the NFL at large even?
I think this is a very interesting year for Sam Darnold, right? It feels very different this year.
It's the contract year before the contract year.
It is, but it's the first time in his career, I think, that he's walked into a training camp, not only knowing he's the guy, but having a comfort level with the guys around him and the respect of the guys around him, knowing that he's also already got a ring, that he won. That is different. Does that translate into a even better Sam Darnold after what he was able to pull off in the playoff run where he did no turnovers and he was pretty solid? I mean, he literally beat the Rams in that NFC Championship game. That was his game, right? So, no, in the back of my mind, he's a dark horse because I'm really curious to see how this season goes with him. I know they have a new offensive coordinator. A couple of things are different. But I really feel like for the first time in his career, he's got an opportunity to walk into a camp and not think I got to fight for my life. This is my team. And I've got a ton of confidence, and I've climbed the mountaintop, and there's nowhere to go at this point. I don't have to go any farther up than maybe winning a personal award or something, but I've already won one. So, yeah, I think this is interesting. Sam Darnold could have a huge, huge year this year where he's just 5,000 yards in the air, 35, 40 touchdowns, keeps his turnovers down. Yeah, this could be the guy. If that happens, that means that JSN is probably right there with him at Offensive Player of the Year as well. So it'll be very interesting to see. I do have that in the back of my mind. I didn't want to sit there and put that out there because I thought that was a little, too much. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him in the conversation throughout this season because I really do think he's going to have a very big year. We'll see.
Luke, I'm curious before we leave the thing. It's odd. You and I both agree that the Broncos are going to be having a successful season by all merits and Super Bowl appearance included. Was there no thought whatsoever of Bo Nix winning an MVP or even being in contention here? I mean, it feels like the Broncos just are version 2A, a poor man's Seattle Seahawks of where everybody just is oh, it's a good team. Nobody wants to point out any particular thing outside of maybe the offensive line. I think we finally got some flowers on that.
I think we've discussed this previously, me and you, Philip. I don't know if we've ever said this on the show, and maybe now's not the time to get into the full discussion, but I know at least in the past, and honestly, even still now, I am not 100% convinced on Bo Nix yet. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know if he's a great quarterback. I still see him missing too many throws deep. I still see him making too many poor decisions when he plays. Part of that, I think, was Sean Payton's play calling. Part of that is just on him missing throws. And he needs to be able to hit those to be able to take him to that next level for me more consistently than he is currently. I don't think that this team's offense is ever going to have that one superstar, how it's currently constructed. You're going to have a running back by committee. You're going to have a above average quarterback. You're going to have you're going to have two wide receiver ones who are both probably at the lower end of what you would consider a wide receiver one, in my opinion. But you're going to have two of them. So it kind of makes up for it now. So yeah, I don't think that anyone on the offense is really going to be that outstanding star. It's all going to come from the defense. And as we kind of previously talked about, they do it in swarms. You're not going to have 120 sack pass rusher by the end of the year. You're going to have everyone go through stretches of getting 5, 6, 7 sacks in the course of 3 games. So I didn't really see the Denver Broncos as having any one player who will stand out to the level of getting an award, because they will just be overshadowed by how good the team is as a whole.
Can I make a Broncos statement? I know you guys are both Broncos fans.
You be careful,
I don't mean to talk bad to you.
You show some respect.
He's about to talk bad.
Here's my problem with the Broncos, and you have a problem with the Broncos.
Oh,
last year, obviously they had a great year, right? We all know what happened at the end.
Yeah.
But it was their year because they had a shot at getting into a Super Bowl in a year where the AFC was really down, where the Chiefs really had their issues because Mahomes got hurt, where Lamar was having a tremendously bad year, and it seemed like the Ravens couldn't be what they were, right? Where a team like the Patriots, who played nobody, was able to pull out and win, right? The Texans seemed to take a step back in the playoffs. There was a lot of things that happened that really opened the door for them, right? And they couldn't go through the door. And I feel like this year, if those things that happened last year reverse themselves and the AFC becomes a lot more competitive and more powerful, that they just become part of the mix. They're not a standout team like you guys are talking about. I just don't see it with everybody else. If Buffalo gets their act together, if Kansas City comes back strong, if Lamar gets his act, if all those things start happening, the Broncos are just one of the group now. They're not a team that kind of puts themselves ahead. Where like in the NFC, you have Seattle and the Rams, and I think there's a big gap down to Chicago, right? There's a difference there. So that's my only thing on the Broncos. I do think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they have a clear path to the Super Bowl if the other teams get their act together this year. I think it could be very hard for them where they had their shot last year, and because of what happened, they blew it.
I think to your point here, Ralph, and this isn't me, but a Bronco detractor could say that if it weren't for the Patriots having the worst schedule in all of NFL history, like easiest schedule to face, that it would have been a little more highlighted that the Broncos had like the number 2 easiest schedule in like the past 30 years. Like not me. I would never say that because I'm a Broncos fan, but that would have been a bigger highlight point.
It's your statement though. Yes.
Yes. So I can understand where you're coming from. I think I think you can dissect that tomato 2 different ways, where the way that I look at it is I think that the Broncos, if they were in the NFC, would certainly be more clustered because the NFC has, it seems for right now, for whatever reason, the NFL is just split in half of like the AFC seems to be dominated by superhero, super legend quarterbacks. And then the teams are trying to be built around them and their contracts versus the NFC. You've got Matthew Stafford is like the lone superhero quarterback, but even he has his limitations. And then you got like the Jalen Hurtses, where it's like it's just a fantastic team all around them, and so therefore, as a fully realized team, they're really strong and really stout and can withstand a lot and are just powerhouses. And the Broncos are the one team in the AFC that seem to be more of the NFC mold of a strong overall team. And you wonder about their quarterback. And so that's where I'm like, I think that the Broncos are an elite team and would fit just as easily in the NFC as they would do now currently in the AFC. And while you're right, I think we can wonder whether or not they'll rise to the level of challenge that possibly things broke right there for their way last year. I just think I maybe I'm biased, maybe, possibly, potentially. But I do think that they are that elite team that has Super Bowl capabilities, regardless of which conference they're in.
You're biased.
I'll freely admit I am biased. I know as a Seahawks fan, you're not biased.
Not at all.
Of course.
Yeah,
you definitely nothing you say
why.
about Seahawks ever has any sort of fan.
When you're done, I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
But what I will say is I think that everything you said is valid. Like I think a lot of things last year broke the Broncos' way and they benefited and they took advantage of that because that's what good teams do. They get an advantage. They take that advantage. I do agree that if you're right, if everything is just fixed for every single team, they will just be one of the pack. I think that the error in that logic is assuming that everybody's just magically fixed this year. And I think that that's going to be the difference. I personally, and I'll, again, like I said, I'll freely admit there is bias in this, but like
just a smidge,
just a little bit. But like, I'm not fully sold yet on the first year head coach for the Bills. I am not fully sold that Mahomes is going to just come back. And even if he does come back and plays at a high level, I'm still not fully convinced that the rest of that team will be able to be carried by him at this point in his career. I'm not fully convinced CJ Stroud is going to be able to lead the Texans to scoring more than 10 points consistently. Like that, I fully agree with you that a lot of things broke the Broncos' way, and that probably they're not going to get all of those things again this year. But I do think that they made improvements to the team. I do think that the team is better this year than it was last year. And because they are better this year than last year, I don't think that they need as many of those breaks to go their way. But yes, I do agree. If everybody just fixes their problems, then the Broncos' improvements aren't going to look as good.
Yeah,
to that, the reason I'll sit here and say that, of course, I'm a Seahawks fan, but the reason I can say that's an elite team right now, look at the path they took last year. They had to beat the Rams twice. They had to beat the Niners. They had to play teams that play at a higher level to get where they got. And then once they got there, I mean, really, come on, the Patriots were a joke. That wasn't a game at all. So you can see the disparity in the AFC and the NFC. The NFC is just such tough conference. I think you pick a team like the Broncos, you put them in the NFC. Unlike what Phil's bias says, I think the Broncos struggle in the NFC. Put them in the NFC West, Phil. Go ahead and play the Seahawks twice a year. Go ahead and play the Rams twice a year, the Niners twice a year. You're not going to have fun doing that.
No team will, though.
Right.
That's a very easy thing. If you put a team in the hardest division, they'll struggle.
Right.
Like that's an easy thing to say.
Well, coming out of that division, I can confidently say, bias or no bias, the Seahawks and the Rams are the two elite teams in the NFL, and there's no doubt about it. There's a gap after that, and then you can talk about a bunch of teams. But the Broncos are in that after that gap, in my opinion. They're not above that gap, is all I'm trying to say.
I don't know what Phil has said throughout this episode. I kind of tune out when he starts talking sometimes. But I have very consistently and clearly said multiple times this show that the number 1 and 2 best teams in the NFL are the Rams and Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm geared more toward Phil's comments.
Yeah. I mean, if they were tiered if they were all of a sudden implemented into the NFC West, it would be Rams, Seahawks, then the Broncos, I think, above the 49ers.
If the Niners are healthy, I'd say Niners, then Broncos.
And whatever.
That would be an agree to disagree, right?
Yeah. But I do think it'd be like tier Broncos, then the next tier is like, whatever. But let's catch up on the text line before we get to the nearing of the end of where all these predictions go, the Super Bowl. Better Dolphin fan says, it pains me to say, I agree with Phil and Luke. The Broncos are the best team in the AFC, even though they are so positive about my team. Hey, you guys are going to earn the number 1 overall pick.
Which is what you want this year. That's what you should be striving for.
I will say Malik Willis would give me a little fear about like how good my chances are getting the number 1 pick. He looks actually really good. Looks pretty good.
Cardinals will beat them out.
Also says the Bills have a very average defense. I would agree, and you got rid of the defensive guy to begin. I don't know. Like
I think they are an average defense, but I think that Josh gets beyond that.
He's that good. Fair enough. Before we get to the conclusion of the Super Bowl, I do want to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show performer.
Oh, jeez.
I'll give you credit, Phil. When I first read that, I was like, "What the heck are we doing?" But honestly, I do think it's kind of a creative question and like a fun question to ask.
Yeah, just as a little, just as the show itself, a little meta. Just gives us a little break just before we get to it. Super Bowl halftime show performer. Jay-Z is the favorite. Justin Biebs is also there. Miley Cyrus and Billie Eilish. You don't have to have somebody to perform. This is merely just an opinion that you have. I think Miley Cyrus is going to be the halftime performer. I don't think it's going to be Taylor Swift, has also been rumored. I think it's Miley Cyrus. She's somebody who feels like would be wanting to do it and is of the age to where like, oh, you can kind of go young, but also a different direction than where it's been in the past 2 seasons.
It's okay to say we're middle-aged now, Phil. It's okay to say that we've crossed that threshold.
I don't know.
We're not young. We're
But
not as
thank
old
God
as
we're not
Ralph,
Ralph.
to be clear, but we're not young.
We at least know what a Bad Bunny is. Anybody have any other thoughts? Halftime show? Because I think Miley Cyrus is the ticket.
I'll let Luke go first.
Okay. I think that they'll continue with the trend they do a lot, where like the point of the halftime show, as we've all kind of discussed, is how about
Dolphin
Coldplay,
fan.
Luke's favorite band?
Yeah, absolute snipe from the comments. Love it.
Wow. I don't think it'll be Coldplay, although I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't be against a Coldplay halftime performance. I think that they'll continue, though, with the trend of like, hey, the halftime show is not for the diehard football fan. Like, I know that they love to complain about it every single year because for some reason they just can't get the hint that it's not all about them. They get the entire 5 hours of the Super Bowl. They can live with a 20-minute performance for somebody else. I'm actually going to go
The Wiggles
with Blackpink.
Oh,
Ralph.
No idea who that is.
yeah.
I knew that there was a negative % chance that you
I
would
have no
know
idea what Black
who that
Pink
is.
for colors.
Blackpink is a South Korean K-pop band.
Absolutely not.
It's a little
Absolutely.
redundant to say South Korean K-pop because the K stands for Korean, but
Never happened.
it would not spread like in the World Cup. BTS performed
No
in the
idea who
World
that
Cup. BTS is also a K-pop band, so the idea it would never happen is very laughable. But I think a lot of the individual performers have all come out with very popular songs, and this would hit the demographic that the halftime show typically goes for.
Think of like Beyonce of a yesteryear, where like I knew people that were just swarming in.
This is 30 years ago. This is Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
This is 25 years ago. This is Backstreet Boys or NSYNC.
Yeah.
So like this is absolutely what I'm sorry. I know that as a 50 to 60 to 70
don't push your luck. Don't push your luck.
I don't know. Maybe 80. I don't know if you've hit that high yet, but I know this is not for you. This will be for other people, but you have an entire football game to watch with a 50-50 shot of the Seahawks being in it. So I think Blackpink is a sneaky good pick for who might be performing at the halftime show.
Ralph, any thoughts?
Blackpink. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look, as an Angelino, born and raised, you're going to go with an Angelino flavor for a Super Bowl that's in Los Angeles. I'm not a fan of this person, but I think there will be this person and then there will be an iconic LA band on top of it. So Billie Eilish, I think, will be your headliner. And I think Red Hot Chili Peppers will be your guest act. Because that gives you a broad spectrum of you have Billie Eilish and then you have Red Hot Chili Peppers, both iconic LA sounds, especially the Chili Peppers, who people love in LA, to do like a little side guest act. And then Billie Eilish to do whatever the heck she does. I've not even listened to her before. But I think that makes more sense. You're going to see some kind of an LA flavor involved in this performer.
All right.
I don't hate it, Ralph.
No.
I don't hate it. I think that I actually do think that is
That's possible.
That's actually a good choice.
Of course it is, because it's not black, pink, or blue, yellow, or whatever the heck you were talking about.
That's good. All right. We've done all the entertainment. Let's talk about it. The Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. I'll go first since mine's the most out there.
Yeah, it is.
Denver versus Dallas, a rematch of Super Bowls past. The Double D Super Bowl, I'm going to have to go with an overwhelming urge. I'm not picking against Denver. Of course, Denver's winning in the Super Bowl. While I do think that in the mode of the playoffs leading all the way up to the Super Bowl, that Dallas can set aside expectations, set aside all the noise, giving them 2 weeks to a Super Bowl that they have not attended in years, that's their own Super Bowl. Like I don't know that Jerry Jones will be able to live past that sense of orgasmic levels of happiness that he will have. To not only be at the center of attention, but be at the full center of a Super Bowl week of what it's become now. Oh my God. Like that, he will need to be on heart suppressants his heart will be beating so fast. So I will go with Denver to actually take it seriously. Sean Payton will not allow them to frolic and play during the entire Super Bowl week. That Jerry Jones will just be all but making sure that the players have full access any and everywhere, especially in LA. Oh my God. So no, Denver winning the Super Bowl. Book it now. Let's go with you, Ralph.
I mean, you already know where I'm going. I mean, Seattle, Buffalo, I think it'd be a great matchup, but I just think Seattle's defense would be too much for Josh Allen or anybody in the AFC. I just don't see an AFC team beating one of the top two NFC teams. I think Seattle repeats as champion, becomes the first repeat champion since the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Which is funny because if you look back in history, we've had a lot of repeat champions over the last 20 years versus the time before that.
Yeah, but like most of them were just the Patriots.
Patriots, Chiefs. Anyway, but I think Seattle would win a close game. But
a close game, yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Defense dominates, right? I think. Well, you know what? Maybe it's not that close of a game because I think Seattle can shut down Josh Allen, but I don't think that the Buffalo defense can shut down the Seattle offense, especially the way I think they're going to be clicking this year. So maybe it's not that close of a game.
That's what I was going to say.
Would probably dominate their third Super Bowl and get that third title. They should have already had that got stolen from them, but I think they win their back-to-back Super Bowl this year. I just think they're going to be that good. So I'm going Seattle.
I was going to say, somehow, if you have Josh Allen making it on a superhero performance all the way to the Super Bowl, first Super Bowl he'll have appeared in, first Super Bowl for the Bills since the four back-to-backs that they lost.
I'm sorry, Buffalo fans. I get it.
Yeah, no kidding. I would have been shocked if you had not predicted yet another blowout, another AFC East opponent blowout. But there we go. That's where I would have thought. And for the record, I would have Denver blowing out the Cowboys. Delicious. Yeah, delicious. I would love to see that. You can't deny you would love to see that though, Luke. You would love to see it.
I love to see it. And I agree. If it was somehow if the Seahawks and the Rams planes crashed and it was just the Cowboys left, I do think that Denver would win that in a landslide. But
I love it.
My Super Bowl matchup,
your Super Bowl,
Denver and the LA Rams,
probably the most realistic one.
Compared to between me and you, for sure. I think Seahawks and Bills are realistic.
It's possible.
I unfortunately do not have the blind optimism that you do.
This is where the magic carpet ride ends.
I am going to very sadly and painfully say, at home, Stafford is going to pull a John Elway. He's going to finish his career with back-to-back Super Bowl wins and then ride off into the sunset. I think he'll do it a little bit more impressively than Elway did it, but he will do it. I think the LA Rams do win. I do think it is a close game. I think that they will both have very good defenses that will be able to keep the offenses in check so that it's not a repeat of 2013 or something. But I do think that in the end, the Rams will be able to win, probably with maybe like a 10-point lead or something like that.
So if I hear your pick and I agree with you, now change the opponent. Change the opponent to Seattle. Seattle Broncos, who wins the Super Bowl?
I think it is Seattle, and I do think, unlike you, I don't think it's going to be a 50-point blowout.
I don't think so either.
But I do think that it would be the exact same thing. I think that defenses would keep the offenses in check for most of the game, but I do think that Seattle probably ends up winning with like a 7 to 10 point lead or win.
That's fair. Yeah. So there we go. We have gone through the entirety of the season as we prepare. Next week, we will be able to talk real football, real game prep, go through the games, say how we're going through. Before we embark on that, is there anything you guys wanted to add? Any predictions that you're like, you know what, on second thought, I have a little something. I can go first if you guys need to think of something. I know for offensive rookie of the year, if you want like a value pick, if I may, depending on how you think the Steelers season goes, maybe Drew Aller. Drew Aller's done a little something. And if you're looking for a quarterback who could be replaced, who, like, I know Aaron Rodgers is there. I don't know that they necessarily commit to him for the entirety of the season. I know it's his retirement tour, but I don't know that Mike McCarthy wouldn't necessarily be petty enough to just say, "Oh, Aaron, you've been awful." But at 2-5, what chance do we have? Just take a rest, buddy. We'll see what we got in Drew, and that would seemingly be enough volume. Drew Aller, maybe is my thought. Do you guys have anybody that you're like, oh, even looking outside of the playoffs could be in, or like this is also a team that looks to be bad? Like Tampa Bay for you, Luke. Do you think that they're going to be bad just overall?
I don't think they'll be. I think they'll be what they have been the last couple of years. Like I think that entire division will end up around 500, give or take a couple games, and it'll just come down to tiebreakers in the last week, like it did this previous year. I do think Carson Beck at plus 2,500 is fairly decent odds. I think if anything happens with Jacoby, he will very easily like step in, and he will just get the pure volume to put up disgusting numbers. Even if he's not playing that well, and have a chance at winning Rookie of the Year.
Fantastic. Ralph, any afterthoughts of the predictions?
None of the predictions, but I have a prediction of my own. I think Shedeur Sanders will get traded by the end of next week.
By the end of the next week. Oh, yeah. There was a possibility in the middle of the season.
I think he will get traded. I think he's lost the starting job. I think they're questioning the fact of his ability to actually even be a backup. That's what I've heard in Cleveland. And I think that they will finally just cut their ties with this guy because he's just not a good quarterback, unlike what you think he is.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good
job, boys.
And that's our show, guys. Another great week, man. Football last 2 weeks. So let's go enjoy Napoli right now as they go play Genoa. That's where I'm going right now. We're going to go watch some real football.
Let's go to the casino during the baseball game.
Yeah. There you go. So thanks for spending some of your weekend with us. We all appreciate it. And we'll be back next week. We'll be talking week 1 games. My goodness, we are there. See you, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's the Weekend Warriors.